Where
All right, I might start, everyone.
it,
Sorry, just 1 second. Oh, okay. Welcome, everyone. My name is Emily Upton. I work for AVO as the Hep C campaign and capacity building lead. It is my great privilege to be the facilitator of today's webinar, Aging as a woman who uses drugs. I would like to start with an acknowledgement of country. I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands on which we live and work. I'm coming to you today from Lutruwita, Tasmania, in Nipalina, Hobart. This was the home of the Muwinina people and home to Palawa people to this day. I pay my deep respect to elders past, present, and emerging, and those who didn't get to make elder status due to colonisation. Australia is unceded land to this day and has always belonged to Aboriginal people and always will be theirs. I would also like to welcome Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who are at our webinar today. We appreciate you being here and thanks again. I'll just go on to do an acknowledgement of community too. So today I would like to acknowledge the legacy of the women who went before us. I'm talking about Australian women who inject drugs. Many of these women are founders of our Australian drug users movement. I'm talking about women like Dr. Annie Madden, Jude Byrne, Judy Chang, and Jenny Kessel. I can't keep name dropping for good reason. There are just too many formidable female leaders in AVIL's network for a brief community acknowledgement. Women who continue to resist the war on drugs, women who use and inject drugs who are striving for equity and social justice in the face of criminalisation. And I would like to welcome and thank all our matriarchs of the movement who are joining us today as speakers or in the audience. I salute you. First, I'd like to introduce Margie, who's our first speaker today, Margie Egan from Northern Territory. Margie works at NTARC, the Northern Territory AIDS Council, and Margie will be talking today about the highs and lows of 50 years of injecting illicit drugs. Welcome, Margie.
Thank you, Emily. Excuse me. Yes, well, I like to say how good it is to be here. And my first webinar. I'm having lots of firsts later in life. and, yeah, I'm in Darwin, on Larrakia land, where I was born. And my mother was born, and she's still here. Sort of lovely. Uh, it's a wonderful part of the world, I think. And it's sorry. So I've been, yes. Well, I'm 69 this year, so I'll be 70 next year, which I didn't even think I'd make 30 at some point. So every decade I just go, oh my God, and I said to my father recently, he just passed away in Alice Springs in December.
Oh my God.
He
I'm
was
sorry,
93.
Margie.
Wow.
He had a good innings and a full life, and
Mm,
he was a musician and author and
wow.
champion of Aboriginal rights, um, so and he was so funny. When I worked at NTARC in Alice Springs for a while, so I've been at NTARC, the AIDS and Hepatitis Council here for about 8 years. So got the job, I think, just before I turned 60, so 9 years, which is the best job I've ever had because I can be honest and open about who I am. I was a registered nurse for more than 20 years, and that was, I used to always feel like I was living a schizophrenic life of you could never be open about who you were.
Especially in the nursing sector, Margie, medical sector. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I was always, So when we were in Perth this year, and I was sick last year.
Yeah.
I couldn't praise that hospital. I was like, enough. Like I was quite open about why I was in Perth and how I was missing doing my talk, and they'd been a drug user, and um, they were just fantastic. It was my best ever experience with the medical professional. Usually, I would steer clear of it as much as I could myself, and always trying to stand up for the rights of people I could see in hospital whose rights and that were not being they were just being discriminated against and treated fairly very badly sometimes just because they use drugs, and especially if you're an injector. Now I'm not sure, Emily. Am I still I'm doing a bio? Or are we into the talk? Or we did,
Oh
no,
my gosh.
sorry. So
Yes, I should have
we're
asked you.
talking
I'm
too
so,
long. Oh,
so,
yeah.
so
So
sorry, Maggie. I did a little brief introduction of you, but I couldn't see that I'd got a bio from you. So please introduce yourself properly. I'm sorry.
oh no, is that enough? I mean,
Oh,
no. I mean, do
whatever
we
you like.
do we each introduce ourselves and then come back? Because I don't
Um,
want to.
Yeah, oh, well, we could actually do that quickly if you wanted, but I was just planning to introduce each speaker at the start of their talk. But
Oh,
actually, no,
okay.
we'll do it that way so we don't take away from your time. So, yeah,
Oh, okay.
but that's totally
Yeah.
fine, Maggie. Sorry, was a bit unclear there.
Um, well, excuse me. So yeah, when you were doing acknowledging people, Jude Byrne was my bestest mate, and we
Oh,
went to school together.
you're joking.
No, in Canberra. So I went to Canberra with my family in 1970 from Arnhem Land. Um, and we were pretty naive bush kids, um, and with too much curiosity, I would say. But and Jude and I used to go to mass together with good Catholic families.
Oh,
And, well, all our families went to together. There's 6 kids in her family, 4 in mine, and our parents were friends.
oh, wow.
And
I had no idea, by the way, and that is crazy. Wow.
yeah,
You're
and we
really
were
in.
both left-handed. Well, I still am. And so we'd sit next to each other at school, because so we could. Were the days when you used to write everything, so you didn't bump in arms. So yeah, so 5 years anyway since Jude died last week. I rang her sister and we spoke for hours. So
Oh my gosh.
it was wonderful. So it was just funny because our lives took a similar trajectory. And she first introduced me to all the work that, I didn't even think to stand up for my rights as a drug user way back because I just was unheard of. Um, but Jude helped me through a few ordeals
Mm.
over the time. So it was wonderful to end up working in the same field. And
Actually,
yeah,
Marky, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I was curious. I actually thought I might be wrong on this, but what did Jude have a background in nursing as well?
she did.
I thought
Yeah,
so. Yeah, that's real. You guys are real
yeah,
synchronous. Well, that's
yeah.
nice.
So yeah, so we were still both playing up. When we came down when I was in Alice Springs. I came down for one of the ABLE conferences in Canberra. So that must have been 2019, I
Oh,
think, just before
yeah.
COVID sort of kicked right in. And yeah, we were always getting into trouble together. Anyway, so that's just it. But so now I'm an old age pensioner, but I still work here at NTARC, and it's just wonderful to have a life lived, and saying with Sonia before that lived experience is so so important for like I speak to young kids and stuff that come in here to NSP, and uh, they listen
Mm.
because I say, yeah, I've been homeless. I was in Redfern homeless. I said at 40, like
Wow.
crazy. But ended up living in Redfern for years, and working mainly in aged care. So
wow.
I think the best nursing home I ever worked in was at Redfern.
Oh,
They were just because there was such an interesting mix of oldies there, and
mm,
we had you know old trannies that had nipped across the road looking to pick up, and oh my god, it was just so gorgeous. It was wonderful, and I've always had an idea for that nursing homes could be so much better.
can't
Um,
relate. Yeah.
my mother's in one now here in Darwin, and it's very good, but it's my mum hates it. But
Mm,
anyway, I'd love to have opened one myself where everyone's individuality is acknowledged and respected, and where you bring in sex workers if people want. You could go
yeah.
out and blow a joint outside, and like
Yes.
and teaching younger people their skills. They have workshops
Yeah.
because a lot of people do end up in nursing homes now.
Yeah.
Um,
I worry
but
about it myself, Marky, for the future. Just like
I know.
I transitioned my father into a nursing home a year ago, and my father's like, like he was alcoholic, I would say. But they had like a managed alcohol situation in there, which was really great for him. But I always thought, what about drugs? And my
Mm,
dad was also using edibles, cannabis edibles for his pain before going in. But then we weren't, like me and my brother weren't going to help with that moving forward to not risk his place in the home. So I
yeah.
really feel what you're saying. Like, I'd love to
Mm.
see that model.
Well, it's I didn't see my first nursing home till we went to Canberra. I didn't even know old people didn't stay at home. Which is what I'd seen up here, and especially in Aboriginal communities,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's going back a long time. You were just sort of absorbed into the community,
Mm,
and it was more of a community though.
yeah.
So I think I tried to talk my mother into buying some land with some of her old mates because she moved into a village situation first. So she had her own place, but then
Yeah.
she was falling over. I'm the only kid here. The others are, around the place, and uh, and I couldn't look after her. It's an awful situation that you have to face, isn't it? It's
Mm,
um, but
definitely.
see, I don't intend going to one.
Yeah. I would like to avoid
Just,
if I could.
but I I do have a good relationship with my daughter, but my my daughter has narcolepsy, and
Oh,
yeah, it just developed when she was older, mid 30s. But so she's on a drug trial but had to live in Victoria, and to qualify. So she's one of 15 people in Victoria, and there's 15 in New South Wales who are on this drug trial, which is just it's stabilised her life. It's incredible. She would be going in and out of sleep paralysis, like every time
gosh.
she had it was triggered by an elevation of emotion, like oh, good to see you. Boom, she'd go straight down into sleep paralysis,
Wow.
and like every emotion from happiness can't be too happy, you can't be too so but she's one of the drugs she's on is called modafinil, and that picks her up in the mornings, and so because she used to say, Mum, I think this is what you need, like because she said it's one of those smart drugs that they call them smart drugs, and they give that to the fighter pilots now because the amphetamines just made them a bit scattered, I suppose.
Mm,
But so being a meth user these days, I never used to, but I did have a pipe. Uh, I think that would be a good drug for stabilising meth users because I just went to rehab last year, the first time in my life,
Wow.
Um, so,
There's a lot of firsts later in life with
I
you,
know, I know.
Mark.
And it was really good with the salvos up here, 3 months. And but I wasn't looking to totally abstain, and that was cool. They weren't so rigid, and it was just about harm minimization and whatever. So uh, that was wonderful, but it did teach me a lot. So I don't know
Mm.
where I was going with that. But
Actually, Marky, oh,
have
sorry.
I,
Cut you off.
you're right. Have I?
We're getting close to time, but I kind of thought what you were talking about. I might have talked to you about this myself in Perth even because I was myself being perimenopausal. Like I've been tapping into a lot of women that are older than me in the network to find out their experiences. I can't really find out much from my own mother, to be honest. She just
Mm,
doesn't want to go there,
yeah.
and she's not a drug user. I want to talk to women in my boat. So and hearing about the menopausal symptoms and the loss of energy and everything, and hearing you starting to use like stims later in life, like I wonder, and yeah, we'll have a menopausal panel discussion at the end, but if you want to think on that, because yeah, I'm really interested to know how the symptoms like interact into, I don't know what the word is, but yeah, how they manifest in us and
Mm.
the drugs in play and that kind of thing. So we'll talk about that at the very end. But was there any final words that you wanted to say in these last couple of minutes to your talk?
Um, uh, uh, I
Oh,
I can't remember us talking about menopause in
that's
Perth. I think my
okay.
brain was a
Oh,
bit
you weren't
fried.
well at that. No, you
No,
weren't.
I know
Don't
it
worry
was.
about it.
Uh, yes,
Shouldn't
wasn't
have been
well.
picking your brain at that stage anyway.
But I do. So I just tried to. I'm not a very good connector with health, right? I have a bit of a put my head in the sand attitude to everything. I don't get tested for anything, and I don't do checks, and I just,
Oh, interesting.
uh, yes. But I do remember menopause, but I didn't do much uh, about it. I lost my partner at that time because we were,
Okay.
he suicided, and I came up to back to Darwin, and I was part of all that for me. I'd lost my sex drive with the menopause, I suppose,
Oh, yeah,
but and he,
true.
it was.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even
Um,
think of that.
yeah, I didn't sort of think of it till afterwards, really, and then I started getting hot in it. But I didn't really. I was on heroin and meth then, so uh, I didn't. I just sort of. So it's hard to remember really because that's a little while ago now. Um, really, what I did, I just took drugs. That's how I
yeah,
dealt with everything.
yeah, that's good, interesting information too, though.
So I wasn't tired. If was tired, I'd have some meth.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense,
but,
Margie. Yeah, okay, Margie. Oh, well, are you happy to leave it there and continue the conversation in the panel discussion at the end? But
yeah.
really, really appreciate knowing a bit like you're sharing about your experience as an older woman and especially with the Jude connection. That was just so nice to hear. I had no idea. But thank you so much, Margie, because I was actually so hanging to see your talk in Perth as well. So it's so nice to get a bit of it here. Like, okay, well, thanks, Margie. We might go to the next speaker. I have to remind myself who that is.
Thank
I
you for
think it's
having me.
Diane. Yeah, Diane. So Diane is from WA. I might get you to introduce yourself, Diane, if you're happy to.
Yeah, sure. Hi. Hi. Great to be here. It's a bit earlier here in Perth. It's 9 o'clock, so it's not
Oh,
too
right.
bad. But just as an introduction, I'm a 65-year-old woman and a teen drug user, and I'm living with HIV. I've had that since 1986, so it's about 40 years now. quite unusual still to be around. Um, and then I have also been through a couple of other major health issues, and I'll explain why it's relevant in a minute. I've been through breast cancer, and I've also got like diabetes, thyroid issues, and a few other bits and pieces. And so yeah, very a lot of with that. So I had worked at peer-based harm reduction for 14 and a half years, like way back when they were even WASWA. And then I left there and I went to WAC, the AIDS Council in WA, to be the peer women's worker. And I retired. So what that means is I now have more time for more committees and meetings and talks and things like that. So I don't feel that I've actually slowed down anymore. It just means that I can start working basically. So yeah, so that's sort of like where I'm at now. I just want to mention very quickly as a bit of a little side note that with all of your it's your right, a bit of a thing that they actually had one on Neighbours when they did the hospital scene. There was one in the background.
Oh my
And for
God.
all of us that have worked in this area, and you know that the It's Your Right campaign, we just had like, years of it.
Yeah,
So yeah, just a little bit of
that's
nonsense
awesome.
information.
Geez, you can't
As
get
I
more
mentioned,
free exposure than that, can you?
That's true.
so it's been everywhere.
Wow.
And yes, that means I also used to watch Neighbours, and quite sad that it finished.
So
Very
good.
sad. So no wonder I use drugs. For having multiple health issues, and as a person who injected drugs, not in major news here, but I've had abscesses on my veins, and veins collapsed because of breast cancer. I've got have to wear my sleeve and can't have anything done to my left arm. So that means the pressure's on the right arm now, which is of course the arm that I injected into. So I have had the hospitals at time. The last time I went in for an operation, and they went to do the anesthesia and everything, would leave at least one good vein. So the judgment is still out there, and it does make it tricky when people are quite good at finding veins, because obviously with health issues, I've got to have my bloods done regularly. So, they need to know how to find a vein. So what I've done, and also as you get older, it's quite difficult to find veins as well. So when I go up to, I've actually got like a little list of the people I know who can get my so I'll go in and I'll go through the list and ask for them, specifically.
Yeah, great.
So yeah, there's around for people that use drugs. Medical team that I've got, GP and upper RPH, I'm really quite lucky that they know my history and they are not judgmental, but it's taken a long time to be able to find, comfortable with that, and to be able to talk freely, the fear of being judged and all of that,
Yeah.
because they do need to know your whole story. And again, especially as you get older, where your medical conditions becomes a lot more complicated. So yeah, they need to have honesty about all of that sort of thing. One of the issues that I had, tablets, again with multiple health issues, means multiple tablets, and anything bigger than probably have trouble
Yeah.
swallowing.
Oh,
So and my HIV meds, because I called them, they were like a tablet course, because they're three meds in one, and so I wasn't very complaint making my. So of course, we get judged that it's because we're a drug user and
Yeah.
not being compliant about taking our medication. But in actual fact, what it was a tablet. So once my doctor worked out and put me onto a different medication, I now take my tablet for HIV every day. And means that untransmissible, to be able to pass it on through sex. Which if I hadn't known and I would know what sex was, I'd be able to do that. But yeah, that I also. So as an older person, what else have I got here in my little notes? That I continue to be an advocate, and the needs and the information has changed over the years. I think that also a lot of people, as you get older, you feel that you become invisible and
Yes.
listen to you. Yeah, I heard a giggle, so I know that people know that of what it's like. So that's why it's really important the constant medical team that you go to, and not every time you go to the hospital to see a different doctor. I will actually wait for a particular specialist rather than see somebody new, because I find that then feedback, I just say, yeah, everything's fine, give me the script and I'm out of there. Whereabouts, if you've seen the same person, they know your history, they know your other medical, and can respond to that. So yeah, I think your medical team is one of the most important issues, and to be able to know that you've got the trust and that you feel listened to and respected, and you're part of that team and part of working out what's happening for your own health and making the decision making, not just them telling you, yeah,
Sounds
what.
like, yeah, a piece of advice in a way, Diane, that if you find those key medical people that aren't judgmental, that you connect with, and that to sort of keep their names and, like keep trying to track them down
And
instead of seeing random people. Is that kind of good, like what you're advising? Because it sounds good.
yeah, but that's the thing, is finding those people,
Yeah, that's it.
and then what happens is that in one hand, you want other people to have the same experience, but then on the other hand, you don't want to share because then it makes it harder to find.
That is true.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So true.
I'm very lucky over here. So what else was I going to say about being an older woman? Oh, we just one day celebrated the 11th year National Day of Women Living with HIV. And that's
Cool.
a initiative under NAPWA, with the National Network of Women with HIV. Our theme this year was Her Story and Unique and United. So like people, like that use drugs, we might have that thing in common, but all of our stories is very unique. But we need to unite together and support.
Mm.
Very
Yeah.
much that solidarity.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
And
So yeah, and we deliberately Women's Day. That's why that date was chosen as well. So at the moment, it's a national day, but of course, we'd like to get it to become international eventually. So yeah, I think that people just need to be aware, that I guess going back to your medical team, that often the health providers are not trained to deal with the unique needs of women who use drugs and also have got HIV. So, and also we're, quite have a high risk of going through depression, anxiety, and mental health issues, and add that to the list of just the physical health issues that you have. Of like being stigmatized and discrimination, can be quite high.
mm,
Um,
Huge.
So we need services that will address the issues manner, and to the management of things of our comorbidities. Also need, like you said, they also need to be culturally and gender sensitive as well. So yeah, I think that's probably most of what I was going to say. Except for like as a woman with HIV, we're still part of the minority and quite a
Mm,
hidden population. So that's why in that sector, but and as a volunteer, and now just on my own personal life,
mm,
because the support and yes, so that's why I've always been involved and wanted to support other women with HIV. Not that
yeah.
when we're together, we, ask each other, how did you get it? Because it's not important. Women would talk to me
Mm, that's right.
privately and
Oh,
that they got through using drugs. But again, because of the stigma that is
Yeah.
attached with use, and again, it's not important at the end of the day how you contracted it anyway. So that's sort of like some of the things I wanted to talk about. And
oh,
if you've got questions after, I'm quite happy to answer anything. I just wanted to say my most proud, and I just wanted to do a bit of self-indulgent here for a second. My
yeah.
proudest moment, and you probably won't be able to see because of the camera and that, but getting the Carol and Travis Jenkins Award at
Oh
the that
my
JAR
gosh.
conference in Melbourne. And yeah, I was the first Australian to have got it. And
Really?
that means I was the first woman
What was?
Australian.
Oh, wow.
So,
That's,
I don't know if I actually got the award or that I was the first woman in Australia to have got it.
oh my gosh. When
I'm
was
really
that
proud to
time?
carry that torch for everybody.
Oh,
Yay. I love
what
Yeah,
was the award?
just on that, like I still do public aids council and that, and I've been to um, different places. And when I'm talking to people that use drugs, and I say about that because it's a good way to realize, look, I lived in Melbourne at St Kilda, pouring on, worked as a sex worker, very sort of like, as typical as you can get sort of thing. And if you'd said to that girl that, 30 years, 40 years, you're going to win an international award for the work that you've done, I'd be like, more likely to. So I just want to give them the hope, no
Great.
matter where you are now, that life can change if you want it to. You're happy doing what
Yeah.
you're doing, that's a good thing. That's fine too.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's actually a great final word, Diane, for your talk.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So
Yeah.
good to
So
have
yeah,
you here, and we'll bring
so
you back for the end discussion as well as all the speakers as well.
yeah, so I'll put
Excuse
my
me, getting over a cold. And the next speaker is Sonia from Quiver, Queensland. Sonia, I'll let you introduce yourself because I was going to try to speak a bit to your specialties, but I think you'll do a better job. So over to you, Sonia.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. So, as Emily kindly said, I'm Sonia. I'm here from Quiver. I'm on Gubbi Gubbi, Cubby Cubby land, and I'm sitting on the beautiful Mount Coolum, literally. Um, so my role, which I'll probably hold more until the end, so my role is as a peer steroid educator, and I'm the only educator in the country in Australia offering people who use performance image enhancing drugs support to have open conversations that are not stigmatizing. I understand the privilege of the place that I hold as well, and I am very grateful for the position that I have, knowing that some people have never had the opportunity to talk to anyone, man or woman, about their steroid use. So holding space for that I'm very privileged and very grateful. Understanding that I'm holding space for some really vulnerable conversations where people have never had the opportunity to go, hey, I don't know what this is, I don't know what this means, to give them capacity based upon education to make informed decisions regarding their health optimization without judgment as to what they're taking is a real specialty, and it's shown in the way that people are engaging. It's shown in the way that people are coming back and they're not feeling stigmatized and there's no stupid question. So I'll kind of keep that to the end. So I am a woman who has a lived experience of steroid use, and that has been a real game changer for me when it comes to perimenopause and menopause. However, I do want to put a disclaimer here. I am not promoting steroid use for women in any way. Each person needs to make their own choices. Each person knows their health and each person knows that journey. I know the stigma. I understand the patronizing concept that we get as a woman when we speak to our GP about actually using steroids, and we get told we just don't use it without asking what is it doing for you and what is the benefit. So
Wow.
it can be a
Yeah.
really difficult, tricky space to walk in because you know what's working for you. I know what works for me, yet I'm not able to engage with any medical health professional who's actually willing to take the time to listen to what I'm saying and then, you know, to receive a script for testosterone. I've not yet met a woman who's actually received a script for
Well,
testosterone testosterone replacement therapy. There are other modalities around there that have got some testosterone in it, which is really helpful. But as far as having a pure testosterone script, I haven't heard of that before. So that's one area. But the other area I wanted to talk about, and I'm really grateful to be in this room with these women on the camera in front of me, and also all the other women that I can't see. And the collective wisdom that we have and the collective wisdom that we share is so profound and so important for the younger generation emerging. And I guess I wanted to talk to the polarity and sometimes the difficulty in which we stand. So when I was young, I used a myriad of different substances. Um, and that led me to some pretty brutal places. So that led me into addiction, into homelessness, into lost relationships, into not uh, knuckling down in my career in my early days to really take my place as to where I am now. But if I hadn't walked the road and if I hadn't experienced what I've experienced, if I hadn't had to hit rock bottom, I would not have the resilience, the strength, the wisdom, and the drive that I have today that has brought me to my career as a social worker, as an educator, as a woman who's really able to hold such a breadth of space, which I'm sure that every woman here can, based upon the collective wisdom that we have. But what do we do with that wisdom when we stand as mums, aunties, grandmothers, friends,
yeah.
and we're watching the younger generation now come through who are using drugs? Now, I understand that the landscape today is really different than when I was using drugs based upon my perception. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's the same. Maybe there was the same risks when I was younger. Maybe now the risks are just more exposed and they're more
Yeah.
talked about. So I can't say if it's different, but it is different because we've now got social media. We've now got these type of conversations. We didn't have the internet when I was younger. Now I'm talking about how old I really
Yeah,
am. We just didn't have these type of forums where we could come together and talk no matter where we are on planet Earth.
so true.
And so now
Yeah.
we stand in this space of polarity where we're
Yeah.
watching the younger generation. We've got this new concept of drugs based upon, or the fentanyls that have been added, the dangers that have been added, and we stand in this space and we kind of hear these conversations about the people we love and the people that are in our world. And the first thing that I know I wanted to do was go, just don't do that, just don't use it, and go into that rescuing mode.
Yeah.
But
Mm.
when I'm in that rescuing mode, what am I stealing away from the younger generation? What am I taking away? Do I want people to have to walk through really hard times? No, I don't. Because it takes so much strength and courage, and sometimes you do it in isolation, and sometimes you do it alone, and sometimes for some people there's no coming back. So I find this funky space that I stand in within this polarity
Yes.
of knowing the outcome of the road I've walked, of the drugs I've taken, of being a drug user, of being a injecting drug user through testosterone, of knowing the road that I've walked came close to me ending my life multiple times. But yet here I am. And I
Mm.
stand here today with resilience and strength and motivation and a passion to speak regarding stigma. And I just want to quickly flick back to Margie and Diane, who've talked about harm reduction and teaching and learning and connecting and comorbidities and stigma and other health concerns, and just the way that when we're trying to access these kind of services, we face this stigma. And in that knowledge, we don't want our younger generation to experience
Yeah.
that. But if
Mm.
they don't experience it, I don't know. I just think, like, I come back to me and I go, I know that me walking through this road, I have more strength now. I don't want
Yeah.
people to suffer, but I also want the younger generation to be resilient, to be strong, to have a beautiful kaleidoscope of experiences that creates this wealth of strength and this wealth of wanting to stand beside, not stand in front, to walk alongside instead of steering the boat, maybe provide a little bit of a navigational map
Mm.
as to,
Good way
if
to
you go
put it.
down this road, this is what this can look like, without saying don't do it, but maybe giving that harm reduction conversation
Yes.
Mm.
and then taking a step back and allowing that person to make their own choice based upon their agency, based upon their self-determination,
Yeah.
which is what I had. And did it end badly sometimes? Absolutely. And did I learn from it? Yeah, and I've got the scars to prove it. But it's the strength now of me not stepping in to rescue, but the strength of me providing harm reduction and walking alongside, not walking in front. So I find that as a woman aging, as a woman who uses drugs, that's become sort of the complexity for me at the moment that I'm trying to navigate. And that I don't have an answer. I'm not here to give an answer and go, oh, do this and here's your magic rule. It's just a funky space to be in. But I guess my main message I'm wanting to give is that if there's any other woman or mum or auntie or anyone that's in this space where you're feeling a little bit, "Ugh, I don't know what to do," you're not alone. And we're
Mm.
kind of all in this together. And that's where I think the wealth and the depth of the way we connect as women is so profound and so amazing because we stand together in complete solidarity without judgment, without stigma, without patronizing each other, but just coming from a place of true understanding and
Mm.
really wanting to support older women as us, but also the younger generation that's emerging forward. And so
Well,
just just to let you all know that you're not alone. It is a really funky, tricky space. And I think we can come together in solidarity, working
Yeah.
together. And when we feel that little bit of a just try to reach out, even if it feels hard, if it feels tricky, if you kind of go, I won't be welcomed. Within the harm reduction services that you have here, including Abel and everyone else, there's an open space for you to talk freely and talk honestly and be held, be seen, be heard, and understood that you're not alone.
so true, Sonia. Oh my gosh, that was such a good talk, Sonia. Yeah. Thank you. And I can't help but notice a bit of a theme running through a little, like hearing Diane mention that, you had HIV since 86 and that, I'm still here. Well, I feel a bit that way without having HIV, just as a female who uses drugs, like, oh, I wasn't. And I know Leah will talk about that a bit next as well. And like Sonia, I feel like, and Marky, you said the same thing too, like that, you have, say, young kids in the NSP today, and you can talk to all that lived experience. Like, because I know when I walked into an NSP, I assumed a peer would be behind the counter, but that's not what it was when back in the day. So to be able to see, go into a service designed for us and meet us on the other side of the counter, like, and meet an elder in our community, an elder peer, like you guys are. I would like to say maybe me in the future. But
Yeah.
yeah, I see that. And with that, I'll probably do a segue to introduce Leah as our next speaker, and then we'll have a little panel discussion at the end. I have tried to keep to time, but I have struggled because I don't want to cut people off when there's such rich stuff coming out. So thanks for everyone's patience with that. I'd just like to introduce Leah now. Illicit drugs and the community of people who use them have been central to Leah McLeod's life for over 40 years. About 20 years ago, Leah found the drug user movement, and in doing so, she found relief from the wall of stigma that positioned her as variously diseased, weak, corrupt, morally failed, and a burden on society. Her commitment to advancing human rights and social justice is reflected in her long career in the community and social sectors, including within the drug user movement, both at a state-based, national and international level. Formerly a Vice President of ABLE and former President of NUA, Leah is a comms specialist who's worked at NUA, ABLE and Input. Welcome, Leah.
Hey, thanks a lot. Thanks very much for
Final
having me.
speaker.
Oh my God, I've just been going, I relate to all of this.
Like that.
So yeah, I just recently turned 61 and never thought I would be this old.
Yeah.
And
Like
I
that.
sort of have been thinking, it goes back to my mum who, from when I was 17 or whatever, every time that she saw me, she thought it would be the last time she'd ever see me.
Wow.
And so I think just got in my head that I wasn't going to live that long. That meant I've never prepared for this. I didn't save any money. I didn't worry about a house. I didn't worry about, I just let my life flow. I didn't plan anything. I've just kind of gone with it. And it's been because I just really didn't think that I would be here. And I have to say, it scares the fuck out of me because most of my money's, gone up my arm. And also I supported a family for a long time. With a partner who used drugs, who had all the same issues that we did and ill health and was older than, etc. So I you're talking about homelessness, Margie, and I was recently homeless for 4 months because the owner of my place, as usual, sold it. And I've got a dependent adult child with special needs. So being this age, people wouldn't even look. I'd go and look at a house, they wouldn't even look at me. Talk about invisible. Do you know what I mean? They'd be showing everybody this and the cupboards, and I just I wasn't there. Even though I had 20 years of records of paying my rent, and do you know what I mean? They were going for drinks every time. Yeah. So that. So I'm in the Blue Mountains, in Katoomba, on Darragland, and they've had a program up here for older women to try and find them housing, and but it relies on you moving into other people's places. It's always a share model, and the idea of giving up your independence and the idea of, once they found out you're a drug user, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I was going to say, you're giving up your privacy as a private drug user in your own home as well, aren't you?
Yeah. And I've got a child that relies on me, so I worry about the whole nursing home thing. When I was younger, none of this was happening, so I thought that I would just move to a country town and pay $20 a week rent. Do you know what I mean? When I retired, and that would eke out whatever money I had, etc. So, but that's now not possible. I'm miles away from Sydney. Still paying enormous rent.
Me too.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Even though it's much prettier here, but it's really quite frightening when I think I will have to work until I die. I think because I can't do anything about that. The reason that I've lived so long is harm reduction, of course.
Good
And
awesome to say.
however, and also drugs. Because
True.
I think I would have chopped myself long ago. Yeah. If I didn't have drugs. I don't really have any stigma personally about my own drug use. Love it. like being a drug user. God, I'd just be an old woman who knitted or something if I didn't take drugs. At least it gives me a little bit of cool factor. Um, and yeah, I mean, it keeps you, I don't know, there's nothing like doing something that's a little bit illegal to keep you kind of, your heart pumping. But like Margie, I've also moved to amphetamines. I was, like
Yeah.
I was the white lady, was my companion for many, many years. But, I just got really
Was it
tired.
around
The issues,
menopause?
the same ones that Diane talked about,
Oh,
diabetes, the hormonal issues, the thyroid issues,
yeah.
arthritis, all those things that hit you. And all of a sudden you go from being very active and doing all this stuff to, having to kind of, you're on a train and you have to kind of wait for 5 minutes till your legs work again so you can walk, and you go, fuck, you can't do certain stairs, and it's
Mm.
so limiting. And I never thought, I find it really, yeah, really tricky.
Yeah.
I love how people give you a seat on the bus though. That's really good. Yeah, some people go, oh, I don't like that. But no, no, it's good.
Well,
So
Leah, do you mind quickly asking with the amphetamines, do you look back and think that that coincided with maybe a menopausal phase? Like,
Oh, no, no, no. I
yeah.
had menopause long ago. So,
Oh, okay.
one thing I found out is that the later that you begin, that you menstruate, yeah, the earlier that you then
That
have
makes sense.
menopause, which is really weird because you'd think it'd be the
Yeah,
other way. But, and so, yeah, I was 40 when I went through menopause. I was angry all the
oh,
time. I was angry all the time. I actually had the police come. My child was small at the time, and some other child in the playground was harassing her, and so I went, rah, 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 rah. And had ended up their parents got the police at my door, and
oh my
so
gosh.
yeah, that's me and menopause.
Oh,
Um, the
but
cool thing is that I come from Queensland, and I always used to be cold, and I'm not anymore. My whole body temperature has
oh,
changed.
tell me
So I live
about
in a really cold place, but it's cool. I mean, good.
it.
Yeah. So that's another thing. My whole everything changed around that. Yeah.
Ah,
Um, but I mean, around that time is also the time that you do start becoming invisible as a woman.
yeah,
Especially I think a lot of us are probably traded on, physical looks or what, you know what I mean, or whatever, um, to do what we do.
changes. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And it's really kind of interesting to have to go a different way and think about different things and
yeah.
and be a different kind of person. And I'm amazed how many people I've been, how much I've changed
Mm.
Yeah.
over the years. It's like, and how my attitude has changed, and yeah, it's
I relate to
I'm a
Leah
lot nicer.
a lot of that.
Sorry.
I was just sorry to talk over you. I relate
No.
to that so much, I must say,
Mm,
about that no, like not planning for the future because
yeah.
for me, like I've always said, like drugs kind of saved my life a little bit because
Yeah, yeah.
I was very suicidal at one point, and that I found a way to cope, like,
Mm,
and so,
Yeah.
but I didn't think I would like, but I had overdoses and things like that, and I still had a suicidal kind of vibe. So I just thought, I've got no sense of future, is what I realized.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
No future.
yeah, I never
Punk, that's
Mm.
my
wanted to
era
have
too. Yeah.
yeah, I never had kids because I honestly thought, oh yeah, I have to get to this kind of like
Yeah.
not drug-free status to have a child, and then
Mm,
yeah, don't end up having a family.
mm.
So yeah, because I never got there.
But it's also the lack of money. I mean, when you're putting all your money, I mean, it's a very expensive
Yeah,
little, business we do.
It's
Um,
exactly. Yeah.
and when you're putting the bulk of your money, and I've, had a partner as well, and we were both on
Yeah.
methadone when Maya came, and it was like it's a very different thing because it's always you and me against the world. It's
Yeah.
always you're always
yeah.
struggling, and even though I sort of have had opportunities in the past to kind of have places to live for really cheaply, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to be around anyway.
Yeah.
Um, and then being older, I've had a deposit a couple of times as far as like, inheritances or whatever. And but they would never lend me enough money, and there's nowhere that you can really live for like you can't buy a place for 250,000. I don't know if you knew that, but yeah. Um,
Mm.
and the idea of getting a mortgage at this age, you know what I mean? It's like all that
Yeah.
stuff. So being homeless was like really hard. when you get a child, you can't couch surf. So I was in service apartments paying, double what the rent would be. It was really my friends that got me through that.
Yeah.
And it's a very yeah, and then sort of moving in here, and then we didn't have any money to get the stuff out of storage, and so it was a whole, you know, and I live terrified of that now. I've never been so compliant. I worry about the house, and I've turned into this real like everything's got to be clean and neat because the owner has a place here as well, and it's like, yeah, it worries me. Do you know what I mean? It really worries me, and that I'm going to somehow, oh no, we've got to stand on the carpet. They're going to give me a bad reference. I'll never be housed
I
again.
know the
That sort of
pressure.
stuff.
Yeah.
And when you have someone depending on you as well, that's really hard.
Yeah.
You've got extra.
So yeah, um, I I love being a drug user, and I like being able to tell people that they can use drugs and I don't know, that they're worthy, that it's okay, that's nothing.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
God, it's like you can be a skin diver, you can be and
Yeah.
be a normal person. You can be, do you know what I mean? You can be an artist and be a normal
Mm.
person. You can be whatever.
Yeah.
And one of my proudest moments was having done an editorial and a woman ringing me saying, crying, saying, I've never ever heard or read anything before that told me that I was okay.
Yeah.
I could use and I could be okay. That,
Yes.
it wasn't, I don't have to live my whole life trying to give up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Feeling guilty.
So, so I've given myself freedom from that whole having
Yeah.
to
I like
moderate but it's like with the whole steroid thing. It's like I cycle. So sometimes I can use more and sometimes I'll use less.
Okay.
So I probably use a little bit less now that I'm older. Worry about, I mean, I could have a really huge whack and go, oh, my heart's going to give out this time. Yes. Because I know people that's happened for.
Mm.
So, but yes, so far so good.
Oh,
Um,
wow. I
um,
love it. I love
yeah.
what you brought up.
But
Mm.
I've had the worst thing I think is like there's the insecurity is
Yeah.
really hard.
Yeah.
Of and it's like this is the dystopic future I was always worried about.
Yeah.
I mean it's here.
And here it is. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
housing stuff, especially, is
Yeah.
so crazy in Australia. Hey, like it's a housing
Mm,
crisis everywhere. I feel a bit of that fear, Lee, as well.
yeah.
Not owning a house or buying one, the insecurity of like houses have been sold under me and that too. But like I just have to worry about me and my partner. Like, but
Yeah.
having like an adult child that's dependent and yeah, just being a
Mm.
bit older as well, like the
Mm,
layers that add up to the pressure.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
No,
yeah.
it's really
Oh,
and it's like I remember the period where me and my friends, our grandparents were dying, and then our parents were dying, and now it's our friends that are dying.
yeah,
And that's really hard too.
yeah,
Um, and I also think working in this area that we all work in, it's really it can really take it out of you. Yeah.
mm.
I mean, the
Oh,
things that I've heard and the stories I've heard, and it's just like sometimes I think that really weighs on you. So you have this years of all the things that you've done that you shouldn't have done, or
yeah,
didn't do, and wish you'd done, and then other people's lives. And as you get older, stuff can really weigh on you emotionally as well, I
yeah.
think. And it's
Well,
something that nobody
Absolutely.
talks about. But the
true.
fact
Yeah.
that there's this cumulative grief about the
Mm,
world and other people's world that sort of builds on you, people who've died, and
yeah,
um,
and I
so people.
feel.
Mm.
Oh, sorry, I was just going to say. And I probably should wrap up this.
Yeah, sorry, I could talk underwater,
No,
as you know.
I know I can listen actually forever, but oh, now it's gone out of my head.
Oh, can I
I'm
just say,
ADHD,
sorry, can
guys.
I just say one thing? Before you acknowledge some of the women, I just wanted to also acknowledge Julie Bates
Oh,
and Marion
yeah. Oh,
Watson and Ruth Bergen.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I was
yeah,
going
no,
to
no, no. I
mention
just
Ruth.
wanted to add that in because
Yeah.
yeah, all women who were very important to me, and yeah,
Oh, wow.
so yeah,
So, should
who
make.
I think are important. You know what I mean? People in the
Yeah,
movement. So
I totally agree with you
mm,
there, Leah. Far out.
mm.
Like I miss those. You could keep naming people. Hey, like.
Oh, mate, I mean, women
Mm.
were right there, right at the beginning, right at the forefront,
Mm.
and I mean, when
Yeah.
the HIVs was the sex workers, gay
Yeah,
men, drug
Mm.
users,
out leading
um,
the way,
and
doing
we had that intersectionality, So drug
Yes.
users have the majority of of that.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah,
We like, well, I say we, but really I think of the peers that went before me have done so much to make it like where we
yeah.
are at today, But
As
I
Sonia
should,
said, though, you really want to pass it on as you get older. You get this sort of
Yeah.
urgent need to pass on everything that you've learnt.
well,
It's like you want to mentor people. It becomes really quite pressing.
Yeah.
I don't think,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it kind of makes sense too, though, because like a lot of knowledge around harm reduction isn't necessarily captured or goes from person to person. And, with the
Yeah.
way the internet is going with censorship as well, where, like I almost wonder if there's not going to be like a throwback to more print media for harm reduction information and stuff because of the censorship online. So
we're going to do
we
that.
need to pass on
Mm.
Hopefully,
and
we're going
do
to do
some
that.
education. Yeah, yeah, Leah. Well, there you go. It's
Mm.
right up your alley.
This could become
Yeah.
regular.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm working at the moment on bringing back the junk mail, so which will be a print as well
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
online. So,
Right.
um, and that's really important, that our people are getting, messages and they're getting real information to make real choices because they've,
Yep.
from a whole range of angles, from the peer angle and the medical angle and the research angle, then you can make an absolutely informed choice. But until
Yeah.
we have that kind of information in front of us, we won't have self-determination, until we have that self-esteem that says we're okay
Mm.
just as we are, we're not going to get self-determination. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I better move on now. Sorry, Leah. Don't
oh, no, no,
cut
no,
you
no, no,
off
no, I'll
because
cry later.
Oh, don't.
but
Oh,
like I was gonna throw to the menopause discussion, but I'm a little worried about time. Maybe even if was there anyone that wanted to share any experiences on menopause or like that sort of thing for 5 minutes, or we could go to questions.
I'm happy to just give a really quick kind of overview if that's going to be easy, just
Yeah.
being that this is mostly the women that well, a lot of women that I work with come with
Oh,
this
that'd be
kind of
brilliant.
similar, and also women in my personal world who are talking about, their struggle going through perimenopause and menopause and weight gain and brain fog and all these other things. And it can be really difficult when there's so much media out there telling you that testosterone works, that you've got all these products, yet we're not seen as the experts of our own body.
Mm,
We are told
yes.
this is what you need to take. You need to take HRT, which for some women, increasing their estrogen and their progesterone can actually cause quite significant mental health concerns. And I
mm.
don't believe that women are fully heard and fully listened to because we're still not seen as experts of our own body.
Yes,
It
yes.
is expected that we should struggle and suffer through menopause. It's like some coming of age. Like,
No, I like
Yeah.
childbirth.
dude, I've come of age, mate. You know what I mean? I've gone through where I have bled every week, sometimes 3, 4 weeks. I've walked the gauntlet, mate. I don't need to do it anymore. And so I guess the one thing about perimenopause and menopause, I really want women. Keep a diary. Write down your symptoms. Don't go to your doctor using your mind because you will forget what's actually happened. So keep a diary and go through and actually share your symptoms. When we're going through
Mm.
comorbidities like women living with HIV or women living with Hep C or women with other type of comorbidities as well, then the complexity starts to increase.
Mm,
You are the expert. And so I really want women to take our place as experts of our body. We know what we need, we know
mm,
what works for us.
Yeah.
And I think collectively, if we continue to raise our voices together from this place of going, please treat me as the expert. I
Yeah.
know what's going on. When you see a gynecologist, if they're questioning you, give them the evidence that you have in your notebook because we need to be seen as the experts. Not every woman is going to experience menopause and perimenopause in the same
Yeah.
way because how can we? We're all
mm,
individual, we're all really different. So giving one solution,
mm.
one product, and that's for some women, HRT may work brilliantly. For
I was never
me,
offered it.
Yeah.
No, me
Drug
neither.
users are just expected. It's like if you're on methadone, it'll just boost up your methadone. That copes
Yeah.
with everything.
and this
Although,
is
although I have to
that's
say the one good thing I've done apart from advocate is is get a good GP that listened to me and that
Yeah.
could give me
Absolutely.
references with other people and could
Yep.
say I was doing the right thing. You know
Yep.
what I mean? I
Yeah.
felt would step up if someone tried to take my child and I
Yep.
think getting help and getting consistent over a long
Yep.
period help really makes a big
Mm,
difference. Yeah.
And that's
yeah.
you being the expert, right? That's
Hmm.
you being the expert of you. And
Mm.
this is where I really want to encourage women to have
Mm,
that. I am the expert of me, and
mm,
we all have these complexities. And so, for some
yeah.
people, this therapy might work. For me, HRT was really shit.
Really?
It just about derailed me.
Oh,
Testosterone works for me. It
Mm.
works for
oh.
me.
Yeah.
But to get it prescribed for me, forget it. It's not going to
Yeah.
happen.
Mm.
Wow.
So I think if we collectively continue to rise up and if we continue to talk about the
Mm,
individualistic component of perimenopause and menopause, that it cannot be a cookie cutter approach where women are just going, well, you can just do that, see you later. It doesn't work. And we're left struggling, hurting, where
Yeah.
marriages are breaking
mm,
down, families are breaking down, women are taking their own lives because it's a really difficult space to work in, to be in, and to live with.
And
So
also, I think we need need to support each other. Women supporting
absolutely.
women and talk about. My mother never talked about it. Like
Yep.
no.
nobody talked about it. I didn't know
No.
what to expect.
Yep.
I didn't
Yep.
know. It sort of was a bit
No.
like the wedding night, 100 years ago or something. Um,
Mm.
and I think that's really important. Actually, a friend of mine sent me a message right at the beginning, going, "You're looking gorgeous with a heart," and it's sort of been sitting there. I mean, it's like I love when women support women, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, to
Yeah.
be their
Yep.
best. And
Definitely.
I
Mm,
think that's one of the one of our strengths is that,
yeah.
I went to a big international conference recently. There was 4,000 women. I've never felt
Yeah.
so safe
Yes, I
as
Yeah.
know.
as
Amazing.
Oh,
as
wow.
an
Mm.
activist. It was like, and
Yeah.
people go, oh yes, all the women
Yeah.
together are trouble. Women can't get
Cool.
on. Women are bullshit. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yes.
Bullshit.
That was so
Yeah.
Bullshit.
true.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
that was awesome, Sonia and Leah too. Like, because yeah, I'm right there now, like looking at HRT. I was actually going to do a disclaimer at the start that I'll get a hot flush potentially in this webinar because it's quite extreme and it's really uncomfortable and embarrassing. And
Yeah.
as a
Mm.
woman who uses drugs, I think people look at me when I'm sweaty and like hot, like, oh, she's hanging out, or they don't read it as
Is
menopause
that too
either.
much? No.
Hep C.
Yeah. So I do appreciate it. And we did
Yeah.
do a little bit of research into if there'd been anything else done. And like RIN, the Women's Harm Reduction International Network, Ruth Bergen, they had done a webinar on it where a lot of women who use drugs shared their experiences of menopause. Quite interesting. But from what we could tell, there really hasn't been much research at all into that.
Yeah.
And there probably isn't enough research into menopause and perimenopause generally, let
Mm,
alone women who
mm,
are using drugs. So
mm,
yeah, it's sort of like an untapped like
Yeah.
situation. And this
mm,
is the RIN
Mm,
webinar, our webinar, it's a little start. But yeah, I'd love to keep
mm,
talking to
mm,
you guys and
mm.
growing with this stuff and
Mm.
yeah, see
And
what's
this is
happening.
just such a beautiful catalyst and a way to open the conversation and
yes.
to
Yeah.
really help everybody understand that we're all different. And there's no judgment. We're all different. You know what I mean? We all use different drugs. We all have a different pathway, but it's the differences that bring us together.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
movement where we are safe to express ourselves and we are
Yeah.
safe to go, I know what's going on. And so I just really appreciate every woman in this room,
Mm.
the collective wisdom, the strength, and the knowledge that we have. This is this is what changes the world
Mm.
when we come together and we collaborate and we have this
Mm.
true solidarity in our heart for a
Mm.
movement to move forward
Yeah.
in no longer seeing perimenopause and menopause as
Mm.
just a eh,
And
Yeah.
I also want to thank though women who don't use drugs who support us, our partners,
Yeah.
and also men
100%.
who are supporting us.
Mm,
Um,
Yeah.
and that I mean we can't do
mm,
anything without our partners,
Correct.
and it's like I mean not love part, you know what I mean?
mm.
Our organizational partners and our those
Yeah.
people who walk with us, as you said before, Yeah.
Well said, Lee. Well
And
said.
that's been a very powerful thing, is that we have been able to attract people who understand where we're coming from
Good
and who
allies.
want human rights for us, who
Yep.
want our
Yep.
rights, who want us to have dignity, you
Mm.
know,
Yeah.
because there's not much dignity in pain. There's not much dignity in getting older. You know what I mean? But we have to claw it back. Drugs are the way.
Well said. Well
Everyone take
said.
something. Go
Well
home
said.
and take something. You'll feel better.
Oh, that's a good final note, I reckon, Leah. No? We are at the end of the webinar though, so in a way. There was one comment before, and not many questions that I saw, but one comment that said, in South Australia, we use modafinil as a treatment for methamphetamine use.
Oh,
And it works well. I'd love to
yeah.
know more. So
Oh,
yeah, um,
was that,
that was in the
sorry,
chat. Someone, I got it sent to me directly from one of our team, but yeah, I can send you the comment, Margie, if that's
that
helpful.
would be great. Thanks,
I'll do
because
that.
I've certainly used that. You know,
Ah.
We've had
I
some
don't really.
trials here, I think.
Oh yeah, well, I've done my own. You know,
Oh, there you
Yeah,
go.
no,
You've done
that's
your own
good. I like
trial.
those trials. I'll talk
well,
to you later.
it's it
Um,
certainly takes the edge off it, you know, and gets you
Oh,
out of bed.
wow. That's good
It's
to know.
it's
Um,
and apparently it's good for your cognition and your memory. So what
wow.
the hell?
Wow.
And
I take
Okay.
it's not
creatine for that.
addictive. It's not addictive either.
Interest.
It's so you know, so my daughter was on it for narcolepsy, but
Oh, of course.
she's on the same dose that she's been on for 8 years.
Wow.
You don't need more and more. So
That's good.
it's got a lot of ticks for me. Yeah.
I'll email you that comment, but we
Yeah,
better
that'd be
wrap up.
great. This has been
So,
so wonderful.
it's been great. Oh, so
Yeah,
nice to have you, Maggie, finally hear from you. And Diane, it's so nice to hear you share for the first time. Sonia, I always love hearing you speak. And also Leah, of course, I love hearing
yeah.
you speak. But thank you for being here. And I feel bad cutting the conversation off. But
We'll have to do it again.
yeah, round two. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks
people
for
have
having
asked
me.
for it
Thanks,
again.